If you thought last season was deep,
You haven't heard anything yet.
this is boots to boots.
The moments where everything you thought you knew about yourself changes.
Because this is the stuff no one wants to talk about.
But it's what needs to be talked about.
Healing doesn't happen alone.
It happens through shared experience.
So lace up your boots.
Join the conversation.
We'll be talking to you.
Today on Boots to Boots, we are talking to fitness coach, professional wrestler, and entrepreneur Steve Gibki. So please welcome Steve Gibki.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was telling Steve while we were prepping for this interview that he probably didn't even know this. We had known each other for 10 plus years. We trained together, we traveled together, all the things. But what I don't know is how you even got into it. Tell us.
Oh man. Yeah, because like literally it's like once me and Deonna met, like that's when I officially got into wrestling. Cause then it's like, okay, now I'm out of school. Good.
Yeah.
Before that, it was the Wild West. So you grow up loving it, you want to be involved. And then I'm like 14 years old and I hear that there's like an indie show like literally down the street from my house. I'm like, I'm gonna show up at 8 a.m. just to kind of see how everything happens. And it was NWS, National Wrestling Superstars, Carney promotion, but it was like one of the main promotions that ran in the area. The like 3 shows every weekend, always sold out. And 14 years old, and I meet the promoter. I'm like, it was Dapper, Johnny Dapper Jr. And I'm just like, hey, so like, how do you get involved? Like, what do I got to do? He goes, takes off his glasses. All right, kid, how old are you? And I'm like, 14. He's like, all right, here's what you do. You show up early, help us set up for some of the show. I'll let you get in the ring. The guys will show you some stuff. Eventually, once you're ready, we'll give you some tickets to sell. We'll put you on a show and we'll go from there. And I go, oh, jackpot. All right. That's the process. Beautiful. And I remember like that show when I showed up and I called Tony, and I said, dude, you got to get here. I finally found out how to get in. Just come here, help us set up the ring, and we'll be good. So then Tony shows up, we helped him set up the ring. And then it was literally, I think a month after Chris Masters first got released. And then Chris Masters just like walked in and we're just like, ooh. And then immediately like we're learning how to bump, how to roll, everything like that from like Chris Masters. And like I went in there and I reffed like a practice match with him, and then that's how it was for like the next like 3-4 years, was just learning how to bump and do stuff like before the show, not really learning how to work, just like the basic stuff, and then just kind of like getting thrown in there. And yeah, definitely not the way you want to start. So
yeah, but everybody has their story, and it's fun to hear. Like that's kind of that old school mentality though, where you're brought in that way. You're learning the ropes of just learning how to set up the ring, how everything works. And then you're getting brought in there by a guy like Chris Masters, who's been doing it. He's obviously on one of the top levels with being in WWE, and then he's in there teaching you how to bump. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
It was awesome because I just saw him at like WrestleCon, and I ran into Rip Rogers, of course, and I'm like talking with Rip, and then Chris comes over, and then like, he's like, yeah, I saw you NCG in Canada. And I tell him about like dude, the first time I ever met you, it was like 2008, right? It was NWS. And like, I reffed your match. You showed me how, like, I was 14. I was like this. He goes, oh, I don't remember that at all, but I bet it was awesome. And I was just like, okay. I don't blame you. It's just crazy. It's like 2008, 2009. I was like 14. And I always say, like, when people ask, like, how did you get started? I was like, well, I did everything you don't want to do. So it's like, you learn the hard way. But the indies were very different back then.
Yeah,
it was literally the Wild West.
Yeah, no, and then I feel like VPW, Damien, like, grabbed everyone from VPW. So he was in a tag team, Victory Pro Wrestling.
Victory Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, and Damien and I would go up. And I was managing Romeo Roselli as like his little assistant or whatever. And Karen was there and John were there. And then Steve and his tag partner, Tony, were there. And Damien just like picked all of you guys and we're like, and now you're going to be my guys. And then everyone would drive down and train with us. And then you did everything right? We did trips to Louisville. We did trips to Toronto. We just packed everyone in the car and got one hotel room and all of us would share.
I never realized, like, I want to say probably for, I guess I would say like the past 7 years, like I look back at that era, like it was it was like 2014 to like 2017, I would say, like those 3 years. I never realized how spoiled we were with training. We were so spoiled. It was like Deonna, me, Tony, and then we'd have like one other person, whether it was like Eddie or Matty Ice or something like that. But it was just 4 people at the school with Damien, and we'd be there from like 6 p.m. all the way until midnight. And like the amount of ring time that we got, we would do Iron Man matches, like the drills, the pin drills, everything, like all old school OVW style training. And then seeing other schools, how crowded it is, how limited ring time that you do actually get. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, we were so spoiled, so spoiled. And then the show schedule that we were on, there were days we were doing triple shots.
Yeah. Oh
which,
yeah.
like I tell people nowadays, it blows their mind because like they had OTW, which was next to Monster Factory, and OTW did that 2 p.m. show. So we do the 2 p.m. show, we'd stay around. They did the 7 or 6 p.m. show, and then we would get right in the car with our gear, drive right over to Monster Factory, and then do Monster Factory's like 8 p.m. show. It was
and then we'd wake up Sunday and go to a 10 a.m. training,
and then right to training, and then Tony would like teach the kids.
Did I ever meet you at the Monster Factory?
No, I don't. I think we just missed you because you got as soon as you got signed is when we started kind of going there.
Yeah, because Danny at that time was starting to then build or make better shows and like make it like ladder matches and stuff. He told me he would never do strictly pro wrestling, this, that, and then he just ended up having fun. I'm like, why couldn't I do this and get that my fill of all the fun?
You missed the fun time era. Yeah, when we were when we started going there, Riddle was there. Damian Priest was there, QT Marshall was there. It was like looking, gosh, that it was just so stacked. You don't realize it when you're in it, but then of course, like years later, and then all these guys are seasoned, they're still making the rounds, and then people see them, and then they get signed, and you're like, oh my gosh, all these people were in this one spot at the same time. It's mind-boggling.
Hey guys, if this was a conversation you needed to hear today, let us know.
Like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Lace up your boots and join the conversation.
And we'll be talking to you. You've competed in bodybuilding. You're actively building a career as a fitness coach. When did you realize your passion for fitness could become a business just outside of wrestling?
That's a really funny part because I got into it because of wrestling. The schedule that it allowed, I was like, oh man, this is great. Like I could train clients during the week, and then I could still do my shows like on the weekends and travel. It kind of just naturally adapted. And then I had to get in shape for wrestling anyways. So I'm just like, oh, this all kind of blends well. Like I was tired of being a jobber and just getting thrown around all the time. And then I think Damien would even before I kind of got big, Damien would say that I was kind of big. You're a big guy, you just handle them, throw them. You pin Eddie when you do it 15 times in a row.
Good impression.
I'm like, all right.
That's a good impression.
Yeah. So, and then I was like, well, if I was big back then, I was like, imagine like how much bigger, and then the bigger I get, the less I have to do. So it's like learn how to work first and then just try to build up on it afterwards. But my main thing, I did everything for the wrestling resume. Like I got into bodybuilding for the wrestling resume because I was like, okay, like my high school athletic resume is only going to last me so long. And then I didn't really, because like college was all wrestling. So, and then eventually I'm like, okay, I need some serious, like, professional athletic things on my resume for, like, if WWE, TNA, anybody are going to look and then take it serious. So I was just like, well, but, like, bodybuilding can't hurt. And then I'm learning, too. And then it's like, it's helping my actual career as a coach and, like, training clients. And that's when I realized I was just like, well, I have one of the most hardcore old school gyms within a half hour of me, Diamond Gym in Maplewood, New Jersey. And finding out that all the professional wrestlers back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when they would work the Garden or when they would work, I think it was Continental Airlines Arena, they'd all go right to Diamond Gym, like British Bulldogs, Legion of Doom, Bushwhackers, Paul Orndorff, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Like they would always come to Diamond Gym. I'm like, well, if they went there, I got to go there.
Yeah.
And,
that's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when I went to Diamond the first time and then I saw the original owner and Ricky Steamboat like shaking hands and they have like a picture on the wall and I'm like, oh, and then there's another picture like Billy Graham like doing curls there and I go, oh, and then one of the old guys is telling me, he's like, oh, you're a wrestler, huh? Paul Orndorff used to come here all the time and there were always like rumors that he was dead, and then he'd show up, and I'd just be like, Paul, I thought you died, and he'd be like, I heard that too. So it was
no, that's really cool.
The stories there are just awesome,
Yeah. Well, you bring up, WWE, AEW, TNA. You've done a ton of extra work for them. So, like, what have you learned being in those locker rooms and in those environments that kind of shapes the wrestlers that are on their roster? And what more do you think you can take from that to build your own resume further?
Yeah, I mean the best thing that I do every time I do extra work like AEW, WWE, TNA, I'm a sponge when I'm there. I ask questions, like I try not to be as shy. Of course, I pick the right times to ask the questions. I watch everybody, all the agents, like how they're putting things together, the process, like what time guys will eat their food, like when they'll kind of like get ready for the match. Like a lot of like small like nuanced things too, just because the better enough you can understand what it's like and the process and everything there, the better you can implement it for yourself. So I just try to be a sponge every time I go, and also be be confident and understand that if you really want it bad enough and you're passionate enough and you care about it enough, like you walk around like you belong there. And it won't be hard to do if you truly love it. If you truly love it, you'll have no problem just blending in, walking around, being able to talk and socialize with everybody, and just blend right in.
No, and I can attest to that too, because I remember even at BFG this past year, we were staying on the rampway, kind of just BSing. And it's just funny, like, oh, like how you're looking lean, like what are you doing differently, and like this. But then you always see him around ringside, just kind of falling around. And you guys got to do the stuff with Ali and being the big muscle bound, suited up guys finally, which I thought was the coolest dynamic as well to add to his character. And that's just you guys being around all the time as extras and making you're just showing your face and you want to put the effort in to get the job. And then that's one of those ways of doing it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Your opener at BFG was an absolute banger, by the way. Like that set the tone for that pay-per-view like so well. And that's definitely like BFG last year was 100% one of TNA's greatest pay-per-views of all time. And you kicked that show off.
Thank you.
So
my mom kicked that one off. My mom flipped it off, if anything.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I got fined for that.
Dude, you deserve your flowers for that one, man. That was just like being able to kind of like watch that whole show. I mean, we had a little, we got to come out like with Ali during that part. The whole summer was just awesome being able to do that and especially Ali is he's so disciplined, so detailed in everything he does, entrance, camera work, like the way he structures the match, like everything he did. It was, to me, it's the perfect person. When I do go to TNA, I am just next to him all the time, trying to be a sponge and learn every single little thing. I am like so honored that I get to be around him when I'm there and just, ask him questions, understand why he does what he does, because it shows in his work too.
Yeah.
So, and having those extras is kind of like a dying breed in the pro wrestling world.
Oh my gosh, you're talking to extra extraordinaire over here. And
I was gonna say, it runs in the family. I feel like I kind of got it from her because she was the first one that was everywhere.
Yeah. But then for you though, on your Instagram, you have dying breed. Like, what does that mean to you by that being your kind of catchphrase, your theme? Like, what is being the dying breed?
That was like when the authentic character just kind of like develops and takes its own form, was like when we were talking about us getting started, how the indies were back in like 2008, 2009, the guys and girls that were making those triple shots, traveling around the road. You really, the business isn't like that anymore. And there's only so many people that are still around that were able to live that lifestyle, actually compete and be in it. And not only that too, I feel you guys could definitely attest to this. I feel like Jersey and the Northeast in general is just such a hub for hidden gem talent. Yeah, there's so many hidden gems. There's so many guys that have been in this even longer than me that literally, if the right person saw them or they were in the right spot at the right time, they would be signed like that. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of it crushes me that they never kind of got that opportunity, and they've come to terms with that. And at this, like, I kind of started taking that and using it as motivation. Like, man, I'll carry the layer, or I'll lead the charge with that, because these guys, they're helping mentor me, they're helping coach me, and like they deserve that time in the sun. If I could do it for them, then by all means, because I feel like I'm literally just starting to coast right into my prime. So I'm just all guns blazing with that. We represent the last of a dying breed. That era of wrestlers and workers is starting to kind of wear off, but
Yeah.
it'll only be completely dead and gone, when we say so.
Absolutely. No, I love that, because I feel like Steve and I have talked a ton about that recently, of how, like, just, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not me shitting on today's talent or anything like that, but you don't need to work as hard as we worked. You don't need to do those triple shots, or you don't need to work 6 shows a weekend for no money. Because we have the internet, and we have streaming, and we have GIFs, and people get booked based off, how viral they could go. And so it's just a different time in wrestling, that sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard, and like, yeah, I got where I wanted to go, but today have it so much easier. And so, no, I love that entire explanation, because I feel that in my soul. And I also feel like Steve feels dying breed in terms of like Marine Corps and military, and
just being a tough guy. It's just going out there and dealing with the grind and accepting it, and knowing what comes with the business. Because that's what we all got into it for, was going out there, lifting the weights, having those long road trips. And those are some of the best memories for me, is those long road trips, especially down here in Orlando, and doing the entire coconut loops, like we used to call it, for NXT when I was here. Like, that's some of the fondest memories, and where I learned most in the car as well.
Yeah. Like those car rides, that's what builds the grit right there. That's when you're going to like learn, okay, are you really doing this because you love it, or are you just doing this because, it's a weekend hobby? I'm telling you right now, like, nobody's going to do it as a weekend hobby when you have to spend like 10 hours in the car, and you have to meet up at Deonna's at 3 a.m. to drive to Niagara Falls to see the falls at 7 a.m. to then make the Destiny Wrestling seminar at noon, to then do the seminar, do an Iron Man match like on the fly, to then after do the Destiny Wrestling show later that day, and then drive all the way back. So
yeah.
Not that that's like a true story or anything, but
oh, it's a true story. And Lewis,
I was gonna say, very
Lewis
detailed.
is in the passenger seat sleeping with the window open, and it's 4 degrees outside. Yep.
Of course, because he likes the cold.
I was like, I remember how.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I remember that drive, because I was like, so, what time are we meeting to go to Canada again? 2:30 a.m. Just about. Okay.
That.
Yeah.
And then
I had just bought my car then. I had just leased my car, and I had like 30,000 miles for 3 years, brand new. And it was like, now we're going to Delaware. The next weekend we drove to Toronto, and it was like, holy shit. By the time I put my car in and returned it, I was 55,000 miles over my lease.
Like the Hyundai one.
And I was moving to Florida, and I was broke. I had no money. I was just starting at NXT, and I was like, just give me whatever car I can afford. I have $3,000.
That's how you know you did the indies right.
Yeah.
But speaking of indies, let's transition to June 6th, Battle for the Brave.
Battle for the Brave. Yeah. We have you coming. Not too far for you to make that town. Not a long drive. Do you have any? It is. Do you have any connection to T2T at all, or veterans or first responders?
Yeah. So obviously, like Tony is a first responder. He's a cop, a police officer in Kenilworth. My whole mother's side of the family is all firefighters. So awesome. My 2 cousins on my mother's side, he's the lieutenant firefighter for Cranford, New Jersey. And then his sister, my other cousin, she is the first ever female firefighter in Springfield, New Jersey history.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
That's badass.
Yeah. So I have a lot of, so like the family, especially on my mother's side, a lot of history making when it comes to first responders. And I did, at Diamond Gym, there's a lot of police and firefighters that train there. So I train with one of probably one of the most badass firefighters from the Hillside Department. His name's Jose, and he's definitely the definition of grit and shows no empathy at all, which is perfect to have around. So it's just like, I don't know, man, my shoulder's kind of sore today. I don't know if I'm going to do this weight. And he goes, you'll do the weight. I'll play you a song on the violin after, but you'll do the weight, and then you'll go up by 10 pounds, and then you could cry when the workout's done. And I'm just like, all right, another Tuesday. There we go. So
hell yeah.
No, that's awesome. We've been talking to a few people today about the show, and I feel like so many people, we booked so many people because they had a connection to the mission of T2T, but there's been so many people that have surprised us with a similar story. So I think it's so cool that you're on the show and you have such a connection and you believe in the mission, and that just makes it that much more special.
Yeah. Does it? And speaking of special, like, how does that make you then feel being a part of the show, like with having that connection?
Oh, it was, I mean, it was a no-brainer, like absolutely, like right off the bat, because first responders, I feel like personally, they always get overlooked. You never understand or really feel the pressure of that job unless you're actually in it. And, just kind of hearing some of the stories, like whenever I'll train my cousin, when the one that's a firefighter, and she's telling me about certain scenes that she has to come to or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, like I can't even relate. So then the fact that that this show is kind of like a celebration of them and like putting them in the spotlight is truly special. So
yeah. Well, the fans in Rahway have seen you plenty of times, but this time you'll be competing in a 12-person gauntlet for the first ever Battle of the Brave Cup champion against Steve.
Who's entering number 1?
No, the Iron Man. Oh boy.
If I'm gonna book myself, the strongest.
Can I just say too, like, I was thinking this the entire time. I'm just like, you guys deserve definitely a Promoter of the Year award or something, because when I saw that you guys booked Rich Swann versus Amazing Red, I was like, and then when I saw you guys like announce the people in this 12-person gauntlet, like my mind was boggled. I was like, this is not a throwaway battle royal gauntlet match. This is stacked. This entire card is stacked. The Mathers versus Goldie. There's so much good chemistry on this card. There's so many good matches. Even the main event with the Hardys versus, and I love it, VSK and Bryce Donovan. And VSK is somebody else that's kind of like from that era of a dying breed. Yeah. So it's nice to kind of see him in there too. I mean, the card is like just well done. Well done.
Thank you.
It looks good on paper. We just got to deliver now.
No,
you got to deliver.
You have to deliver now. What can fans expect to see from you in this setting for the mission, for the cause on June 6th?
Oh, just lots of violence. Lots of violence.
Love it.
And I know Steve's excited about that too. That's just been my goal now, because I realized for a couple of years, I was really playing it safe. I'm like, okay, I'm on the indies. I don't want to do anything too crazy. I want to take care of my body. I want to kind of save my bumps. I want to make everything meaningful. And Killer Cross is just somebody who reached out to me, a genuine good person, kind of woke me up and was like, you are capable of so much stuff. You are really capable of just showing off and showing out a really good amount of violence. Be that new wave of violence. Get out there and just like make people realize it. It doesn't matter which show it is. Just get out there and just go all in. And I've been on a very good streak of that. And I feel the difference. And then when I look back at my current matches, I see the difference too. And seeing the other people that are in this gauntlet match, ooh, it's just making me lick my lips, so.
Oh, good. Well, we're excited to see the violence. Steve's excited to feel the violence.
I love violence.
But
yeah, I know.
Can you let everyone know where they can find you, keep up with you, and where they can find you before June 6th?
Yes, of course. So my Instagram, Stevie G, that's my main one, SteveYyG. I always remember that because I used to advertise during high school fights all the time. And then, of course, YouTube, STG Studios, where I'm always updating with like new videos, gym videos, matches, promos. Actually, tonight I will be at Shotgun Thursday night at WrestlePro in Union, New Jersey. And then I believe we have another WrestlePro Rahway show. That's a big one. Better Than You. I believe that is the last Saturday or Sunday in May. That's in Rahway as well. And then I believe next Saturday we have Rebel Spirit Pro out in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Fan Appreciation Night tickets are half off. So for all my New England peeps that love me talking shit about New England and hyping up why Jersey is the best in the world, make sure you come out to that one because they always give me the microphone and I always make people laugh. So
Good.
Well,
Awesome.
We're excited to see you June 6th. And if anyone hasn't gotten their tickets yet, but wants to, go to t2twrestling.tixr.com and get them now.
And if you can't get your tickets and make the event in person, we're streaming live on Triller for just $11 for T2T donations, going to first responders, veterans, and helping out the community.
We'll be talking to you.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying Boots to Boots, let us know.
Lace up your boots and join the conversation.
Like, subscribe, leave us a comment,
And we'll be talking to you.